I understand that it's a fantasy setting, but is no one going to question why the principal of a school for children is carrying around a dagger in his cloak? That really can't be allowed, right? Opening up this episode, Ida takes Luz to like the beach and like they find this giant beached trash slug, she calls it, or something like that. And she's there to like recover its remains and like dissect the dying smelly creature because they make a big deal about it not smelling great. And the thing is covered in human garbage, which really makes me ask the question again, is Luz really the only human on this world? Like, how much access to Earth do they have? The thing is literally littered in Earth stuff. And like that's why she wants to like dissect the thing to collect the Earth trash. At least that's what I took away from it. Granted, not all of those things are Earth specific, right? Like a mattress doesn't necessarily have to come from Earth. I think there's a refrigerator in there as well, a sink. Like those things don't have to be from Earth, I guess. But there's a TV antenna on that thing, and I can't imagine the Boiling Isle has television. Unless it does, and we haven't seen it yet. I don't know. But anyways, Luce is a bit disenchanted, to put it lightly, with the work that Ida has her doing. So Ida's like, listen, I get that the trash doesn't seem appealing, but here, take this little orb thing we found and make the best of it. And then Lucy's like, sure, thanks for the trash. I'm gonna go now. And she goes, walks off into the woods or whatever. And then Ida's like, well, suit yourself, more trash for me. Then, on her way back to the owl house, Lou stumbles upon two witches in the woods. They're like witch apprentices, apprentices, one of the two, whatever it is, one of the three. She stumbles upon like these two witch girls that are going to a witch school. They're on their way to this magical school, and like just looking at their character designs alone, you can kind of tell like, okay, who's gonna be the mean character? Who's gonna be the mean girl at school? And like, yeah, no, you can tell already they are. Like the other girl, the one with the glasses, her name is Willow, and she's like worried about her abomination not being able to pass this quiz that they're having that day. Turns out abominations are like this animated putty monster that they control and like takes orders from their masters, kind of like the putties from the Power Rangers. And like this other girl, Amity, shows up and is just like, hey, yeah, you're kind of garbage at being a witch, and I'm pretty great at being a witch. And that's all I'm here to say because I'm the mean girl. And honestly, I really liked her character this episode, especially in that introduction when you first meet her, because she's so beautifully condescending to her. Like everything she's saying is in a nice tone of voice, but it's just so condescending. I kind of loved it. Also, though, she did drop that the Willow, her like nickname at school is half a witch Willow, and they use that to like belittle her. But honestly, like, is that really the best they could come up with? Granted, I haven't done a lot of schoolyard bullying, but there have to be better insults than that, right? It doesn't even roll off the tongue. Look, just off the top of my head, there's Weeping Willow, Wallowing Willow, Willow the Wuss, Wannabe Willow, or just half witch Willow, not half a witch Willow. Or even just Lance. I don't know. The point is, there are options. And that just seemed like a weird phrase to give her. But whatever. So, like, Amity and Willow talk. And, like, Amity makes her feel less than. And then she goes away. And then Willow's just there wallowing. Because she's a wallowing Willow. Again, think about it, show. Anyway, so, like, Willow's there wallowing. And, she like gets kind of mad about it and mad at Amity for making her feel less than, and like she shows off some plant magic that she can do, and she kind of just blows up and like starts throwing vines everywhere, and the vines find Luce and like drag her over there. And at this point, I'm like, man, is that an everyday thing? Does she just like start destroying everything around her with plants? Also, she talks about how like she's good at plant magic, but she doesn't do it because she's in the abomination course, and like you're only allowed to do one type of magic or whatever magic you're studying. And according to Ida, the people at magical schools are hacks. And that alone, yeah, they're hacks. You can't study whatever field of magic you want. You have to do a specific thing. All right, that seems, yeah, I wouldn't go to school either. Also, like, she's talking to Luce and she's like, whoa, you're a human. That's amazing. But I've got to go to class now. Bye. And honestly, if humans are really, right? If humans are really as rare as they make them out to be, and Luce is the only human on the Boiling Isles, wouldn't you be okay with being late to class if you found one? Like, I know she's trying to be a good student and all, but if I found an alien, I'd probably make my day about that. I don't see myself saying, oh, okay, sorry, E.T. I've gotta go to class. We've got a quiz today. Those grades can't wait. But whatever. It turns out she doesn't have to abandon the human alien woman thing. Willow's abomination isn't up to snuff. It's not it's not the best. So Luce is like, hey, well, I want to see a magical school. You want an abomination that actually works. Take me in as your abomination, and I'll do whatever you want. This is a great plan. And they agree to do it. But it's not a great plan. There's so many ways that could go wrong. First and foremost, Luce is not exactly privy to the ins and outs of this Boiling Isle society. There's no way she can blend in. But you know what? A for effort on Luce's part, because she totally commits. I totally love how much energy she gives it and like how dedicated she becomes to the jar life because she puts her in like this jar. And I thought it was hilarious. So like Willow takes Luce into school and like they meet this kid. His name is August or Augustus. They call him Gus, whatever. So they meet this kid and he's like the president of the Human Appreciation Club. And again, just to reiterate, because I feel like a broken record at this point, if humans and Earth stuff is so rare, how does everyone know about it? Why is there teen magazines all over the place? Why is there a Human Appreciation Club? How many people are in the Human Appreciation Club? It seems fun enough, I suppose. I wouldn't join because I don't like people, but you know, whatever. That's his thing. But like quiz time, right? At the magical school, and the teacher is kind of a horrible person. Like he looks at his class and is like, the biggest abominations are all of you guys. He's like bullying his own students and makes them compete against each other for like this gold star thing that says best student. I get that you want a certain level of drive in your students, but making them compete against each other does not seem like a healthy way to do it. Like, not at all. I also did think it was hilarious when Luce pops her head out of the jar to, like, give Willow a pep talk. I thought that was cute. Also, when the quiz does happen, yeah, Luce totally commits. I love the energy. And then Amity just pouts in the corner, like, get over it. Whatever. And then Ida's like, hey, where is Luce this whole time? And she ends up tracking her down to the school. And she has this line as she's looking through the window of the school. And she's like, blind obedience. No. And you know what, Ida? I know your fear. I agree. As you would imagine, the lie doesn't last very long. And like the principal shows up and like I said, he's like, hey, is this really an abomination? This like girl you have dancing around? And they're like, yeah, come on, guy. Don't you see it looks nothing like any of the other abominations? And then, like I said earlier, the guy pulls out a dagger. And I get it, right? It's a fantasy world. But he's a teacher? I don't know if that's okay. But whatever. And like, she was like, oh, yeah, it's probably best I don't let her stab her. And then the kid, August, like knocks over a bunch of jars and like a bunch of abominations come out. And I don't know if that was really the best way to handle that situation, but all right, whatever. They're on the run. And then the teacher, the principal guy, like locks down the school with the spell thing. And then Willow has to like use her plant magic to escape because it turns out that like orb trash thing that Ida gave Luce at the beginning was a seed. And I was like, whoa, I saw that coming, but whatever. Setup, payoff, that's how shows work. This one did it pretty well. And while I was watching that scene where like Willow uses vines to like destroy the whole school and cover everything and like attack the actual principal, I just couldn't help but think that like she was expelled, right? But no, it turns out she's not. The guy was actually very impressed by the vines. So cool. And like Willow was able to get Luce out of the school. Like she used her vines to like throw her to safety. But they were still in there, and Luce runs off to get Ida's help. But then Willow and Augustus, sorry, I keep saying August. Willow and August are just fine. They just escaped. They showed up like 2 minutes after Luce did. And like, what? How did you guys escape? She talks about how like, oh, the principal was very impressed with my vine work, so he moved me over to the plant botany section of magic of that school. But okay, I get that. But that's still a conversation you had to have with the principal. So unless you guys have super speed, how did you get there just 2 minutes after this? Well, I guess they're magical. Maybe they like teleporters. I don't know. I really don't. They showed up so quickly. Also, Luce is banned from the school now, which is a bit of a bummer, but honestly, I would prefer it if she wasn't a student. But she might become a student. I don't know. Maybe she'll get unbanned. Maybe that's what the next episode's about. But she does gain an appreciation for Ida being her teacher. Ida kind of gets some perspective about like how her teaching style is. And ultimately, all's well that ends well. Ida's very proud of Luce for getting banned from the school. I thought that was funny. It's her first wanted poster, she says. I appreciated that. And yeah, that's pretty much all that really happened this episode. I still find it hard to believe that like Luce is the only human there. I don't want that to be the only thing I talk about, so I'm probably going to stop talking about it. But I did enjoy the characters this time around. Even the new characters are fun. Willow just seems like generic best friend so far. But I did like Amity, because we've seen Mean Girls before in the past, in a lot of shows. But I did like the whole, I'm gonna act like I'm helping you, but I'm actually just gonna condescend the entire time. And I thought that was funny. Also, Luce and King, always a delight to see those two. Anyways, guys, that was this episode. Thanks for watching if you did. Have a good day, guys. Be safe. And remember, don't trust the establishment.